Cool.
Not much,
No?
actually. I have been really quiet for the past month or so.
Taking a break from the
Not really doing anything.
from the production.
Yeah, production, life, lots of things. Just
Like you are planning,
Yeah.
or you're taking time off of planning?
I'm planning. I'm trying to figure stuff out. I learned a lot last year from all the silly adventures that I went on. Like, I'm not going to try to release one song a month
I mean, you did it for a year, right? That's
this year. That was stupid.
That's good.
I think it was a good experiment. I learned a lot about the process. I think trying to find myself kind of a
Probably a
thing.
lot of
That's kind of where I am now still.
You probably learned a lot about what you enjoy and think is good that you do, and what you do not enjoy and do not think is good. I feel like you would learn a lot about that.
Yeah, a little bit about that. I think most what I feel like I'm close to figuring out is what I'm supposed to sound like, because I've never had my own voice. I've always been like in a band or producing somebody else's vision or helping somebody else with their song, or an instrumentalist backing somebody.
So
like, I
more
have
like
no idea what Svend sounds
what
like.
you want your own sound to be.
Yeah.
Basically.
And if you look at everything I released like the last year, it's all over the place. Like, I'm hopping genres.
Yeah.
My voice is different, the way I sing. Listening back, there's a lot of cringy moments. There's a lot of stuff that I like wish I could take a piece from here and a piece from here and a piece from,
Yeah.
So I think that's what this year's about, with the hope of releasing something in 2026 that I can say is what Svend sounds like.
Cool. I dig it, man.
How's yous?
Good. Just same old. Just working, kids, and same thing. Like, I've actually been at home. I haven't traveled really at all for 3 weeks or something like that. So I haven't been home this long in forever. So it's been nice. I leave on Tuesday though for 2.5, 3 weeks. But it's been good. Kind of doing the home life thing, you know?
Yeah. Get to be family.
Yeah, a little bit.
That new little guy.
Yeah, hang out with the little boy.
Yeah.
He likes me, so we hang out. Okay, I have no idea this is gonna be 1 episode or 2 episodes, so I guess we'll see how long. Coming up on episode 233 of First Chorus Verse, Evil's friend Svend and I already fucked it up. Svend and I decided we need to talk some independent artists this year. Let's start that off. That's next. Hi, everybody. This is First Course Verse. I am DL, and with me is one song a month, Svend.
No
Svend
more.
Knutsen. How you doing, my man?
Exhausted.
Are ya?
Yeah. Done with that one song a month bullshit.
Did you, when you did that last year, was it all through? I mean, I'm not talking about the production. Obviously, your whatever you call it, bedroom production or whatever. Like, you're using your Pro Tools, you're using stuff like that. But was it all synth digitized? Did you use your drums? Did you use?
Yeah, it's a mixture of everything. I experimented with a whole bunch of different ways to capture sounds or make sounds. So some of it is like playing the drum kit. There's some times where I played drum parts one drum at a time. Like, I would play the whole snare part, and then I would just play the kick drum part, and then I would play like cymbals, which is hard because as a drummer, like, you accidentally hit the drums that you're trying not to hit because you're used to playing the song, you know? So I'm trying to just hit the snare, but like out of habit, my other hand will like crash.
Like, it's like the Dave Grohl, Hawkins,
when him,
like, missing cymbals,
cymbals in one room and then the rest of the kit in the other room. But I was trying to do that as one person and then isolate each drum just to get clean mixes and no bleeds between the drum mics and everything. But I dove into a lot of electronic. I never messed around with synths before, and getting to learn to kind of play around and make my own sounds was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of
You had fun
use
doing
quite
it?
a bit of drum like samples that I would then write out drum parts with MIDI and like sample like 808s from like I don't have an 808, so I'd find like a 808 snare or like a 909 ended up being like some of my favorite drum sounds.
Overall, what did you think of the year's work? Were you content? Did you like it? Are you proud of it?
I'm proud of moments. I think I'm proud of the process, and I'm proud, I think, what I got out of the experience. Definitely listening to the songs. I pushed so many of them out so fast that now listening back, I can hear all the things that I would have spent sometimes it's just like another 2 days, or sometimes it's like, if I would have had another month with that. Sometimes it's production things. Sometimes it's mastering things. Sometimes it's just writing. Like, I wish I wouldn't have, like, I should have written a bridge between those two things, or there's a missing verse, or that's a bunch of nonsense. I wish I would have put more thought into what I was trying to say.
Kind of a musician thing too, though, right? Like, you're never going to be happy with something that you release.
Yeah, probably not. I don't know. I'd love to get a lot of opinions on that from people that have achieved like plaques and like awards, and be like, so that thing that you just got like a bunch of Grammys for, is it done? You still hear stuff that you're like,
I bet they do.
Kajillion people love it, but I think it could be better.
Or like, I wonder how many producers, that whatever, that Nirvana or that Soundgarden album, I wonder how many producers honestly in the back of their head before it released was like, this sucks. This totally sucks.
Yeah.
And then it came out and they're like, oh, okay, it's 6 times platinum. Yeah, this is great. Good job.
Or I wonder how many times
there's gotta be one or two.
Someone hears it after they've won all these awards, and they're like, yeah, but that guy fucked up the mix. I would have done it like this. Or why'd they turn my guitar down?
This is kind of the perfect venue for all of these conversations, because what Svend and I, every year Svend and I do a few episodes together. He comes on, the man I started this all with comes back, and let's see, one year we just did hip hop. We did Dre, Biggie, and Tupac. And hey, smart us skipped that other guy.
Although, imagine if we would have done that last year. If we would have done...
Would have been a lot to talk about.
Ooh.
Let's see. Last year, we did... What? Just because of the implications. Last year, what did we do? Oh, we talked Dave. That's right. I became a Dave fan again. I remembered my love for them. And now I am, once again, a loud and proud Dave Matthews fan. It feels good. That was a blast. In fact, right behind me, for those of you watching, I've got Carter looking over me. The patented Carter Beauford smile that only Carter has. I was really wanting to find a great picture of him playing and chewing gum, but I had a very hard time finding a good
Blowing
one.
a bubble.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but it's okay. But so what we've decided to do this year is we've decided to focus on indie artists for many, many, many reasons. I guess we could just back and forth right now with reasons. I will go the first reason for me personally is I kind of went the opposite way that you should the last year. And I've actually been pretty hard on independent artists. I think because what happened is I came into this podcast and I was most excited to give independent artists a venue to put their music out there, to actually have somebody that will listen, that will get it to other people. And what I found was that I don't want to say that there were some, not all, that were either lazy or weren't putting in the work that I thought that they should. And so I was very negative about independent artists last year, which is unfair because when you really macro take a huge step back and you look at the industry and how impossible it is for them and how you have to do your own marketing and you have to get on Instagram, and good luck getting your stuff seen with all the other 50 million artists that are on there trying to get seen. And the work that I was talking about they weren't putting in, it's because they have to do 12 fucking jobs, which you, after the last year, understand more than anybody, right?
Right. I think it's a different type of person that chooses that route. And I think one thing that we'll probably talk about tonight too is kind of how that load gets distributed in a band versus a solo artist.
Ah, yeah.
And
yeah,
then
I didn't even think about that.
And then I also think I'm here jumping in with that. I'm most interested in just finding out what is indie anymore, because there's bands that are huge that are indie rock bands, right? Like,
Yeah, it became kind of a genre.
it's a genre. It's like now tagged onto the front, or has its own umbrella of sub-genre. Like anything, there's indie pop, there's indie tronica, you just slap indie on the front of it.
It's almost like there is an indie genre that's your Arcade Fires and your Mumford and Sons that just have that indie sound, but then there are independent artists.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like now it's like two completely different things.
Or just like non-studio produced, lower quality or DIY version of any genre. Indie pop, indie, whatever it is. If someone's self-producing it, they, label that, put that little genre on there, whatever they release.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think a lot of the stuff that I bitched about was justified, but I am over that. And I want to get back to the other part. I want to find that happy medium of empathizing with the independent artist. And, for example, we're going to talk about one artist tonight that I could find really nothing on. And
you're welcome.
Full transparency. I didn't, I looked, but I didn't scour. I didn't fucking sally forth and spend days, but I did look at where you should look to find artist info, and I found nothing. I emailed this person to just
emailed
say, hey,
a 20-something-year-old. They don't even know what email is.
But hey, still, I have a podcast that has, and I even put in the email, look, I have hum 1,000 listeners an episode. We don't want anything. We're just going to talk about you. Do you have any form of bio? Anything that I can and I never heard back. And these are the sort of problems that I have with independent artists, and B, that independent artists have in the industry. Because for all I know, this person has probably gotten 7,000 emails like that. None of them amounted to anything. Or furthermore, we'll say that the way that this person looks, maybe 85% of those emails were actually just like scumbags trying to do something stupid. If you understand what I'm saying with that. That's kind of, where do you stand on the whole independent artist kind of having to do their own promotion?
There's a whole bunch of examples of all levels of success or not success. I think, especially with solo artists that are completely bootstrapping, doing it all themselves, they're having to be really, really like picky and focused on what channels that they want to market themselves through and not get distracted by these other things. So when you send an email asking for bio and saying, hey, I want to talk about you, not saying this is the case, but it's a possibility that podcasts might not be in that preferred channel for that artist. And they're going to say like, I'm not going to get distracted. I'm sticking with TikTok and Discord and building my audience there. I can reach the people that are like me there more versus this other channel, which might have a large audience, but are they my audience? So I think the smart people figure out their niche and then they just hyper focus because you don't have the big budget. You don't have the marketing team to hit all these different channels and do social plus radio plus Google ads plus interviews plus yada yada yada. There's so many places you can promote yourself. But then also there's totally the level of even just me as an artist trying to have a conversation with another artist, to better both of us, whether it's exchanging ideas or asking advice or giving advice. there's people that are just they ghost you, or they just I don't know.
Yeah.
I have that happen to me sometimes just because I'm really into a project or something, and like I become the worst communicator ever. Like I don't return
No.
calls or emails or direct messages.
You're
And I'm
kidding
just
me.
like buried in my creative cave, being like this
Yeah.
creative person and all these ideas and like the outside world doesn't exist. I think that's another thing that happens when you're doing all these other things that are like administrative tasks as an artist. It sucks for some people. You don't want to do all that shit.
Oh, it sucks.
So the chance you finally get to go back to what you're doing, like to the creative part, it's like I can lock myself in the room and I just want the rest of the world to go away and it doesn't exist, and I
Yeah.
can ignore all the notifications and everything.
No, that's totally fair.
So
It's
many
absolutely
things.
fair. Well, and there's also that part. I've been doing this for 5 years now, and there is, as independent artists, you have to collaborate, whether it's with like you were talking about Discord or other artists or podcasts or this. You have to collaborate, or else nothing will ever work at all. You won't even get thousands of listeners. You'll be stuck with 17 listeners
Right.
if you do not collaborate. After 5 years, there is a lot of jade there, because there is a lot of people that you try to work with that end up fucking sucking. I've done stuff with other producers, with other podcasts that were amazing. And I will always be there for anything they need. I will shout them out anytime. But I've also worked with people that sucked. I've worked with people that get everything they need from you and then, like you said, just fucking disappear. Or people that will get all the way up to working something out and then realize that you are something different than they wanted you to be. And instead of just having a professional, that's the problem that's missing for me, is the professionalism. There's so much of a lack of profession. And I don't know if it's just because artists are artists. There's temperamental, the reputations that we all know artists have. It's hard as an independent artist who is really actually striving to get shit done. You are constantly hit with that sort of thing from those sort of people constantly, right?
Yeah. I think outside of just artists, there are flakes. There are flakes in every walk of life, right? And anti-human pro dog. I love that shirt. Anti-human pro dog. Because as long as you got a treat in your pocket, every dog in the neighborhood will be your best friend.
For the rest of your life.
For the rest, yeah, one treat, and they're your best friend forever.
You got them. That's it.
I mean, that's... Yeah. So I think the human condition, unfortunately, applies to super creative people also.
This is what we're going to do this year. We're going to talk indie artists, and we're going to look there. We are going to talk about the struggles. And I think a lot of you independent artists, we have a lot of indie artists that listen. And I think a lot of you want that. You want the empathy. You want the brothers in solidarity and sympathy. I almost said sympathy loves company, but it's actually misery that loves company. So we're going to talk a lot about that. But most importantly, this whole podcast started with Svend and I giving each other music that we didn't know. And that's what we're doing again this year. The only difference is we're giving each other indie artists. And I think that that's going to be fucking fun as hell.
Yeah.
We're going to talk indie. We're going to give each other shit that we haven't heard. Some of it is not going to be each other's cup of tea, but inherently, and I don't, maybe because you are an independent artist, so maybe it's insulting, but to me, inherently, there's just a natural instinct in you that just is going to, I don't want to say take it easy on the artist, but there is just a natural part of your brain that I don't have the instinct to, oh, what the fuck are they doing right there? That instinct isn't there. It's a much lighter, more positive instinct, if that makes sense.
I think I get what you're saying.
That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk independent art. We're going to give each other independent artists this time, because I know that we're going to get lost in the weeds a ton because it's Svend and I, and that's what we do. We're going to we only gave each other one indie artist each. And I'm sure the next one will probably be two, but we knew that in the first, this could be a two-parter. I don't know. We knew in this one that it was going to be a long way to go. Before we get there, though, We got to talk about the most important part of the night in season 5. What are we drinking?
Woo.
Svend, what are you drinking?
I'm up first. I'm going to find out because I asked Amanda to get me beer that she thought I would like, and I don't know what it is yet.
I love it.
So it's in my little cooler.
That's so exciting.
Oh, sweet. It's one I have not had.
He loves it.
She got me
he doesn't know if he loves it.
Alpenhaze Hazy IPA, Icicle Brewing Company. It's
Where is
Leavenworth,
Icicle
Washington.
Hey, I know that
next
place.
to the woods.
I like Leavenworth.
Looks good. I'm gonna
What's
bet
the
that it's gonna
ABV
be
on that bad boy?
hazy and fruity.
Is it Delicioso?
It is very good. It is very good.
What's the ABV on it?
This one's 6.3, and for an IPA, it's not crazy hoppy. It's pretty balanced, malty. It's got a little like fruity, like tropicalness, like maybe a little mango apricot kind of thing going.
I like those IPAs. I like the hazy, fruity IPAs. I've never understood the real IPA craze until those hazy ones came out, and I was like, okay, I kind of get this now.
I like the ones that are like, it tastes like you were snowboarding and went into the backcountry, took a wrong turn, and got like a face full of pine tree. I love that kind of beer.
So you like the IPAs?
Some of them, though, are just too sweet because they try to hide the bitterness with all this sweet maltiness. And I'm like, no, don't do that. Just hit me with the bitter. I can take it. May I have another?
Well, if you want bitter, just drink a Guinness.
Looks like coffee. You know, Guinness is actually one of the healthiest beers.
I actually did. Back when I was actually healthy-ish. I wasn't healthy. Back when I exercised and ate healthy, I should say that, I drank Guinness after runs on the weekend. It fucking helped. Really, really good.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm drinking. I got this cool, I don't know if you can see it. There's the Pacific Northwest has these cool Guinness.
Ooh, special cans. Commemorative.
Yeah. It's really cool. I'll take a picture and send it to you because you can't see because of the stupid fucking lighting.
Right. Stupid lights.
But I'm just drinking Guinness, you know? It's a Friday night. I don't want to, I mean, I kind of do, but this is actually the first episode for season 5 that's being recorded. How exciting is that?
Whoa.
How exciting. Svend wins 1-0.
Whoa.
We've got a lot to do tonight, so we are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, it is an autographed copy of the double vinyl, and it's got Pat, Taylor, Dave Grohl. Have all 5?
Holy shit!
It's got all
Where'd you
5.
get
Okay.
that?
Yeah, and I finally got it framed and got it hanging up. And I don't know, I'm stoked about it.
Who got you that?
So when I turned 40, apparently the process started. It was supposed to be a 40th birthday gift that my extended family, when it was Amanda's idea, but she rallied a bunch of people, and they found some collector in Australia that had that, and it took till now. So took almost 2 years.
That's freaking amazing.
I'm stoked. Yeah, I felt like it was a great Christmas.
You got a pretty good
usually,
wife, I guess.
Set low expectations, like socks and sweaters and stuff.
Now that I'm in my 40s, socks are the best fucking present ever.
Actually, you know,
I love getting socks.
Ones with like silly crap all over them, or like where
I love silly socks.
The
Hell
bottoms
yeah.
say, "If you can read this, bring me a beer."
We are back. I just had to post on the Soch. Really sorry about that. It's going to be okay. Svend, are you ready? Are you ready for this?
I was going to say I was born ready. That's the stupidest thing that people always say when they're asked that question.
I love it. I think you were born ready. We're going to start with the artist that Svend gave me. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put an indie scale. We're going to do an indie scale for everybody we follow. Or sorry, for everybody we talk about in these. So 1 through 10, the amount of indie that the artist
Like,
actually
how indie
is.
are they?
And I'm saying that this artist, I'm giving this artist an 8 out of 10 on the indie scale. Where are you at on the indie scale? This is a very indie artist.
Man, I didn't get to think about this beforehand, so I want to let everyone know
No, you didn't.
that in true DL fashion, I am answering
Always.
a question that I didn't know
We're talking
I was going to answer.
8,000 followers on Instagram. We've got what, like 20 songs on Spotify,
Like 1,000
something
monthly
like that.
listeners or something, 1,500 maybe.
No, she's got like 6,000.
Oh, nice.
And hey, let me preface all of the things all the numbers I just said. I mean, those are all bullshit. No, who gives a fuck what your Spotify numbers and your Instagram followers, all that? Who cares? Not at all saying that you should be judged based on that. I'm just, we're giving you a look into how popular the artist is. However, why don't you give who the artist is, why you picked her, and then where you have experienced most of her material.
Oh, yeah. I suppose I should do that. I could do that. I will do that.
I would like it.
So, I present Cosette, Cosette. That is her first name, and she goes by Cosette as her artist name as well.
She goes by her name.
Yeah.
Her first name. Her first real name is Cosette.
And like you found...
She's American, right?
What's that?
Is she American?
She is. Nashville.
Okay.
She's from Nashville.
Oh.
Last year, I believe like April-ish, moved to LA. So hopefully not on fire right now.
Sounds much more LA than Nashville.
I found her because, like her, I use Ableton to record and produce music.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I follow on social media. One of the hashtags or things. And so I found her on TikTok, which is where up until the near future, she shares most of her everything. Demo songs, she workshops musics through there. Like, she has a new song or new section of a song, she'll post it, get feedback. It's a pretty cool following and community of people that she has kind of cultivated on TikTok. And now she's trying to move everyone over to Discord because the US is maybe banning TikTok. We'll see.
Could be possible.
And
it could happen.
So I found her because I was Ableton nerd. She's I think that's the only thing it says on her profile is Ableton enthusiast. So I was like, okay, this is someone that I can learn a few production tricks from.
Gotcha.
And then I got into her music just through that, listening to the stuff she was posting. I was like, well, where is she releasing? So found her Spotify. And honestly, I like the stuff she posts on TikToks and the things she's working on more than like anything she formally has released at this point.
This is something that I really like about doing this is you have branched out. Okay, I'll say it like this. In the finale, which you were directing, we had a conversation where Evil talked about how his stepson or his fiance's son that he lives with told him about a song that he really liked, and it was a typo negative song, and Evil was like, that's fucking typo negative. Like that's my
and then
shit.
he got to school him on check out this song.
Yeah, but then his son was like, that's not
Didn't
their most
have the
popular
most streams.
song, and Evil's like, yeah, it is. He's like, no, look at this, and it's got like 1 billion streams, and Evil realized like, oh, because I am a very, 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 very traditional music listener. As everybody listening knows, I want my album, and I want to know about my artist, and I want my artist to have issues, and I want them to be produced, and that's how it is. But now, not only are people going away from the album structure, but people are going away from the traditional release. Like, even Spotify is starting to slowly become antiquated. Music is becoming this soundtrack for TikTok and things like that. Things that it sounds like, have branched off to because your production interests have taken you there.
For sure. I would say the cutting edge, newest music. I don't mean new music by a band that is already your favorite band, but like the unheard stuff that people are trying to create that's new. I find on either social, like TikTok, Instagram, or SoundCloud. Like the amount of people that only release on SoundCloud, they don't have a Bandcamp, they don't have a Spotify, no YouTube, they just put it on SoundCloud. They're out there. Like there's some experimental stuff, and it's always got some little piece of inspiration that I can take away. It's like, that is something really cool. It's not music I would make, but that sound or that technique or like that's a really cool groove.
Well, and that all started in what, like the late 17, 18, all those SoundCloud rappers, like Juice WRLD and those SoundCloud rappers, all of a sudden they were making millions of dollars, and people are like, "What? Where the fuck is this coming from?" And it was all SoundCloud.
Yeah.
And to this day, I don't have a SoundCloud account. Our podcast doesn't get released on SoundCloud. Because it costs money, extra money, like not just the way that a independent podcast works is basically I am in a system, you pay monthly and then they release it on all platforms. But SoundCloud has kind of ostensibly kept its own thing. It's kind of kept.
So they aren't part of those distribution networks.
Because they're
So you would either have to pay extra through your distributor, or you just manually go and do it as a separate workflow and upload your own thing to SoundCloud. Because you can do that for free.
Which even then...
But the pain in the ass is that you have to go and just do a whole nother, like, publishing, instead of just...
Yeah, well, that and how many people go to SoundCloud for fucking podcasts.
Yeah, wrong platform.
It's for the artists that you have found. It's for 2018. Sounds like a long time. Feels like forever. Like Juice WRLD feels like forever ago. 6 years. You know what? For the music industry, which is constantly morphing, to morph into its next whatever it is. 6 years is not that long.
Yeah.
This whole TikTok, SoundCloud thing, it really has changed everything.
You know what? Random note, because you said Juice WRLD. And he's like my 8-year-old's favorite artist at this point in time.
Really?
Right. He used to be Foo Fighters. I was a proud dad. It's Juice WRLD. Thank you, Fortnite.
Now it's Juice WRLD.
I blame Fortnite.
That's great.
But Juice WRLD he's like okay, no, I'm not going to say the name. He has more posthumous releases than alive releases. And he just like his estate is making so much money. Like he has his own character in Fortnite. Like, so when my kids play Fortnite, they run around as Juice WRLD. And
he held the record for streams until like 2 years ago. Like Drake surpassed him just like 2 years ago. Yeah, that's fucking insane. Crazy.
So I think like a story like Juice WRLD, even though that's one in how many, hundreds of thousands of SoundCloud artists are out there, I think it was just like this beacon. There was this other path that you could, that artists are like, I could do that. I think for a lot of people, they thought it would be an easier path, but it's really not.
Yes.
You're still a slave.
No.
I think that's the one thing the only thing I know for certain, I guess, as a new artist is that you're going to be a slave. You're either going to be a slave to the road and the stage, or you're going to be a slave to the internet and social media. But you're putting the work in. There can be all sorts of debate about which is harder. One's the tried and true. I think you're going to have... you could almost like draw a line with artists and tell which side they're going to... Like the tried and true, go on tour, put all your shit in a van, drive around your region, gigging at every bar and club you can. And it's all about the FaceTime, right? It's not... None of this is about the actual music. Music happens in the rehearsal space. It happens when you're writing. It does happen on the stage. But tours aren't about the music. They're about building an audience and getting FaceTime with as many people so that they know who you are, right? And so
Yep.
taking stuff to SoundCloud and dumping your shit there, you've got to then do this other kind of work to drive people there to listen to it and build an audience. And a lot of times it's that whole content calendar cycle thing where you're making content that you're releasing as music, that's your art that you release. But then you're making a whole second set of shit. Sometimes it's like full out songs that you're never going to release as part of your album or something, but you need something to post because you want people to see you play music so that they will go discover the other shit that you're actually releasing. So one way or another, as an artist, you're picking who you're going to be a slave to. And some people try to do it all, which is insane.
My question to you, to see if you know the answer to this, does she do her own production?
Yeah.
Does she write her own beats? Does she?
She is a one-stop shop. She does everything. And that's part of the reason I picked her.
Love that.
I think she started off as a lot of producers do in the DJ world, doing like mashups and remixes and things like that, for like parties and like live shows and things. Mm-hmm. And then I think when she got into writing, she used a lot of the same skill set. So the music she produces is like EDM and hyper pop, very electronic driven. But what I appreciate about her, she has added like these super saturated, thick layered vocals. I think that's the thing that I love the most, and what initially drew me to her when I found her on TikTok. I think the first video I ever saw was her posting. Okay, this is kind of spoiler for later on when we start talking influences and stuff, but she did a cover of, I don't know if you're familiar with Imogen Heap. Love she did this. They were here first. What you say? Not you only meant well, of course. So that was like, I heard that, and actually it was a shorter snippet of that, and then someone later commented like, we need the full cover now. So she did a full cover, and it's all a cappella. And then in later videos, she breaks down her vocal processing and all the effects and how she records it and produces it and mixes it. And so I immediately was like, okay, here's somebody that not only knows the production side, she can sing. And she can sing like chords, like these massive, beautiful chords. And you know I'm a nerd for that. So, but yeah, to answer your question, she writes, she sings, she performs, she produces, mixes, masters, markets. She's the one-stop.
I think that is really, really awesome. I think that's like, I love the idea of her just, sitting in there working that out. I do agree. The lyrics, the vocals, that very, very new age, saturated, digitized Jacob Collier kind of, it's so fucking busy, but it's not, it's cool though. It's not busy to the point that there are times where it's like, holy fuck, like I just back off a little bit. but what I like is there's just always so much for you to catch. And it's very, very original. It's very, without giving too much away when we get to talking towards the end, it's stuff that you don't hear from a lot of pop artists, and I wouldn't even necessarily call her a pop artist.
Yeah, I don't know this, but I'm going to guess she was a choir kid. I feel like a lot of people that do vocals like this were in jazz choir or something, right? And it's like, how can I do that but extra? Because I I'm new and I want to be better or whatever, you know, I'm gonna do everything I learned in jazz choir, but I'm gonna stack another, you know, 10 layers of harmonies on top of it and just
Yeah, you can tell that it is all one person and a laptop, but there are times where I really like that. There are times where picturing somebody basically just in the lab working things out. I do think that at times, and maybe you can speak to this because you do both. You do stuff on your own. You've been in tons of bands and stuff like that. I do think that you can get lost in the sauce if you aren't working with other people a bunch. You kind of, there are parts of the discography where I don't want to say it's one note, but it almost, you can picture this person in the same spot, working the same computer, doing the same, you know what I mean? Doing the same thing. It's like maybe
just adding to that just keep like working on that one part and almost overproducing things.
Yeah, exactly. I think what we should do is I think we should take a break and get into talking to some of the specifics. Because I feel like I'm being negative, and I don't feel negatively about this at all. So no spoilers, but I don't. So let's go ahead and take a break. Hopefully my fucking audio keeps working. I don't understand what's happening with my Focusrite. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
We are back. Let's get to some awards and categories for the artist Cosette. We'll talk a couple specifics, things like that. I want to start with the DMX award, and this is why I wanted to wait to get into here to really dive into the fact that I kind of spoke to this earlier, but the DMX award, what makes this indie artist unique, when you open up the Spotify or the Instagram or that sort of thing, there is a specific type of music that you are expecting to hear. And it is not at all what you hear. The music that she is producing on her own is not at all what I was expecting when I opened it up. It's incredibly complex. It is, you're very right in that it is, I don't even know what this genre anymore would be called. It's like half EDM, it's like production pop, isn't it? I don't know. What would you call it? Hyper pop?
That's some of what she does. I think it all plays around in like the dance pop, hyper pop, electronic dance, depending on the track, that cluster of genres, which is totally new for me. EDM was the last genre that I was holding out on. Never got into it until like a year ago. And now I'm like, maybe like 9 months ago. I'm still not huge into it, but like the needle moved from like, I'm not interested to like, I'm very curious. To change a setting or something. I can't remember. There was something, I think, really similar answer to yours, except I kind of knew the music I was gonna get because I was I was on TikTok looking for music producers, and most of them produce things that sound in this genre. What stood out were the vocals that we've already kind of talked about, because it wasn't just the production stuff. Like the production stuff, there's a lot of people that show off how they do things and they remix stuff, or like the way they produce beats or things like that. There's a bajillion of those TikTok channels out there, but like when it was an a cappella vocal thing, that's what grabbed me. Yeah, so then I followed her on TikTok, joined her Discord, And on her Discord, it's kind of cool. She has a whole channel on Discord where she lets people post their songs, and then not just her, but the whole community of people on there gives feedback and like, here's what I would change, or I like this part, I didn't like that part. So she's kind of started this community of artists helping artists, which I think is really cool. That's another thing that drew me to her, and a reason I want to call attention to what she's doing is because there's a lot of people that I think aren't ready for like the marketing and the promotion and like the launch into public. They're still kind of doing what I'm doing, where they're figuring out their sound. And feedback, I think, honest quality feedback is one of the hardest things about being a solo artist. You don't have a band to bounce ideas off, or like you don't have like the drummer being like, that sucked, that thing you just did, can you do different?
That's really cool. And that's kind of why I like doing this. That's the part of indie that I don't know anything about. The closest that we'll talk, we're going to get there. We're going to have this conversation in a minute.
What's crazy though is like I look at all these people asking for advice. Not a single person is like, how do I get on a playlist? How do I get 1,000 streams on Spotify? How do I get more followers? All of it is music related. Like, hey, check out this thing I just made. What do you think it sounds like? Or here's my latest song I'm working on. Or here's a demo that I'm playing around with. And then people chime in, and it's always about the music. And I think that's so cool. I think a lot of people jump into, I've got an EP, I've released, I've got like 5 songs. How do I get famous? How do I get like 1 million people to hear my 5 songs that I have worked on, and I've got, it's like there's so much that comes before that. I feel like you don't want to be the person that has one song and 1 million people find it and it gets huge. And then they're like, what else do you do? And it's either crap or there's nothing. It's just an empty discography. That's
the pause I think that a lot of people like stubborn me have in this form of indie artist. Is because I do think that a lot of it didn't originally stem from shortcuts. I think it was originally stemmed from people figuring out stuff on the podcast we started this year out talking about 9 Inch Nails, and there are bands that found noises that were fucking rad, and that's how all that started. That's how the Pro Tools started and things like that. An easier way to pump out a song and not spend a lot of money doing it, and then get, like you said, okay, I've got my 5 songs, how do I get famous? I think that for somebody like me, like you were talking about the 2 types of ways you can do it. You can sit in the lab and you can work it out, or you can go on tour. To me, there is the tour thing is just romanticized. It's how we grew up, it's just, that's the romantic part of music. But you're absolutely right that this can be the same thing. I have worked with Ableton, and it is a fucking beast. And
yeah.
You I can see you finding these artists just trying to figure out what the fuck to do.
Like, how did they do that thing with their voice when it went like this and then chopped into this thing and it turned into an instrument and not a voice anymore?
Which that's what we did as kids. How did he get his guitar to make that? No, it's the same thing.
What pedal was that? Or what combination of 3 pedals did that? What did Tom Morello do to his guitar to have that weird kill switch so that he could
The Mark Lanigan True Rock Star Award. What makes this person a true rock star? So this, to me, we already touched on. I was going to ask you here, but I already did because the time arose. This is a one-stop shop. She produced this. This is just her. This is her in front of a computer with her voice doing her stuff, and that is fucking badass. That is rare. That is, you look at all of the famous artists now in Wikipedia and look up their producers, There's 77 producers that they have. And that's why even if you don't love this style of music, I will take a release from this person over a Nicki Minaj album 9 times out of 10 because there's consistency. There's a theme. It makes sense because it's not her with a different person every time saying, okay, you're famous. I want to work with you.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if it sounds like the next thing. I just have a lot of respect for what she's doing.
I don't have an answer for the question because I don't think she's a rock star.
She's not. That's the right.
But huge respect for what she does. I don't think she wants to be a rock star either. I'm not saying it like an insult. I think
being a rock star is kind of dying out.
Yeah, I guess there's another breed of musician that just wants to do the music part and not the lifestyle, maybe.
Yeah. Is that possible, though, is the question.
I don't know. I think it is. I think it is.
Influences and influencees. Here's where I wanted to have the conversation because I said Jacob Year. I said all that kind of person sitting in their basement, new version of fucking Dungeons and Dragon nerds. It's people that just sit in front of their Ableton and build thousands and thousands of little pieces of put here for fucking 12 hours a day. You sent me something years ago when we were bullshit. I think you were still on the pod. We were bullshitting more about music, and you got me really into this YouTube stuff. Where was it? Andrew Huang.
Andrew Huang is like one of my favorite YouTubers.
So he would do this thing where they would come up with a song. He would get like 4 different producers.
Oh yeah.
Just say, okay.
One sample for producers.
Here's your sample, make a song out of it. And you would get the 4 different productions of the sample. Those videos were so fucking badass.
They were fun, right?
Yes. And all that production variation stuff, I could see as being a huge influence on a young person like this. Even though it might not be my thing, I have immense amount of respect for it because I don't think that I could do what she's doing. I really don't.
I don't know that maybe the software is new, but I think what she's doing, what a lot of these artists are doing isn't new. It's just becoming more common because doing it the other way is becoming way harder. Yeah. Just staying with a band is hard enough. Like forming a band and staying together. But then to take those people and launch a career is so hard now. The tried and true way still works, but like it takes like 1 billion more reps than it did 10 years ago. You might not ever reach.
When we were young and the odds of you making a living out of it was, there's no way it was going to happen. You got a 7% chance of it working out as a career, as a traveling band. Now, what does that knock down to 2%, 3%? There's no, could you imagine being a fucking band right now?
No. That's why I'm making music in a room by myself.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love bands. There's no better feeling than creating something in the moment with other human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the trade-off isn't efficient or practical today.
No, the industry's gone. The venues can't afford to pay you, so you're not going to get any money from them. It's all. I can't keep bitching about this stuff. Do you have any influences or influencees that you could think of?
So I already said Imogen Heap. Yeah. I think a lot of that comes down to vocals and some production style.
That's
definitely
such a good call,
Charlie.
That are 2000s. That 2000s Frau Imogen Heap stuff was so moved mountains for this kind of subtle auto-tuney Pro Tools. Yeah, it's a really good call.
Yeah. So that, some Charlie Puth.
Yes.
I hear some Charlie XCX influence as far as the attitude, maybe subject matter for some of the songs. I mean, she's not like a lyrically deep, heavy lyricist kind of an artist, but it's like those kind of poppy lyrics.
But that's kind of one of the ways that people are going now too. And I shouldn't say that. Like, the people have always done that. But there are the people that you can tell care and put a lot of thought into being a lyrical songwriter. And then people that I just want the words to fit the song.
Yeah.
I don't think either is better than the other. John Paul Jones Award. Who would you want this artist to be able to work with? I'll go first because I think Svend would have a better answer because he is more familiar and comfortable with this artist. But he's shaking his head no. But so I guess Svend, go first. Who would you want to hear this person work with?
This could be the weirdest answer ever. Rick Rubin. I want someone that contributes nothing as far as notes or instruments, but someone back there being like, people will listen
Maybe
to that.
You don't need that.
Or like doing another, like cycle through the next thing.
I think that is a great answer. Stand back. He would let her do her thing. He would tell her when it's good and when it's bad. Maybe simplify this here. Sort of. I think that's a perfect answer. I just said Svend because he would like it.
Hey.
It would make him happy. He would learn.
I would love that.
Which is insane because how old is this? How old is Cosette?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
it's 20 something.
It's
maybe?
crazy that as
I'm guessing.
old asses we would learn so much from such a young person. No, dude, seriously, Svend, if you had one song, and not necessarily favorite, but one song to show somebody what you think Cosette is kind of all about, what would it be?
It would be Eyes.
I can't believe my eyes.
Again, the vocals, the layers, and I just love like the weird like tube hollowy sounding synths in it. I don't know. It's a good representation, I think, of everything I like about her that she has released. That said, I would probably not show her anything or show someone anything from her releases. I'd probably take them to TikTok or Discord.
That's a good answer.
And seriously listen to this unreleased thing, because she's got so many things that are unreleased that I don't know if she's still working on them, if they're just hanging or what. But there's stuff coming that I think is going to be awesome.
I said the song Rain. She came out with that last year, 2024, and it is the perfect blend of her unique, complex harmonies, but also it's very pop friendly. It's very, if you want your 2-minute, 30-second ditty of a song, Rain is going to get you there. John Popper Award for Best Hook. Do you have a hook of hers that you very much love?
She's not really like a hooky...
Right?
A lot of them don't have like that strong hook. Like the closest thing, maybe like chorus on Rain.
Yeah.
Kind of is repetitive enough that it could be.
She kind of avoids
like
hooks. It is very much not a verse, chorus, verse trademark type of music.
It's very much like, I think of it as like, you know how like Bach never had a hook?
Yeah.
Or like a lot of classical compositions, they might have themes, and even if they repeat, it's not like a hook.
No, because you don't necessarily have any clue where the fuck her song's going. Like sometimes,
and there's not like a clear, like a lot of EDM has that build to a very clear drop.
Yes.
Like here's where all the heads start bobbing and everyone, you know. She doesn't really hit you in the face with that either.
Yeah.
All of her drops or anything that would be a hook are like snuck in subtly. Like I don't know how she's sneaky with it.
The John Prine Best Lyric Award. We kind of went over this. It's not lyrical music. It's not. It gets
not so much.
But
I have a favorite lyric.
Oh, good. What is it?
I asked God to remove you from my mind, but he never did. It's on God Minded.
Well, that makes sense. It's there. It's there for the taking.
It's there. There.
I don't have one. I have a least favorite, and it's the car song. The something driving in my car, that drives me nuts. That's my least favorite hook and my least favorite lyrics. Sorry, Cosette.
I thought it was gonna be the "I'm pretty."
Yeah, I don't like that either.
lyrics.
But hey, I can look. I have no problem with fucking self positivity. Hey, you do you. That's great. No But the driving in your car thing, I just couldn't. I don't fucking get it. I'm too old. The Eddie Van Halen Award. This is an interesting question because Eddie Van Halen Award is typically like a riff or a solo or something that you hear the instruments do really well. What we've been talking about is it's a whole new perspective of music based solely from the production standpoint, which is kind of the opposite of the Eddie Van Halen outlook of music, right?
There's not like that moment of spontaneous guitar slayage.
Yes.
Where you're just, improvising some crazy solo, yeah.
Yeah. So like there's things that I could say, you know what I love? The beginning, actually you brought up God Minded. And there is that, I don't know what the fuck it is. It's some sort of like harp keyboard hit that she's doing through the whole song. It works off of a chord, but it's just there's no rhyme or reason to it, even though it's within a chord.
Yep.
It phases in and out. There's something about that is very, very fucking mesmerizing.
Yeah.
So I would go with that.
It's like similarly, I think the way she uses arps or arpeggiation
Yeah.
with her MIDI, I'm really into. There's so many ways that you can program MIDI arpeggiators. Like it's not just a straight like arpeggio up and down or converging it has like a level of randomness to it that.
Do you have favorite songs from Cosette?
Yeah. I've got 3. I do have 3. I forced myself to narrow it down to 3.
I'll go first because I picked 2, and they're just they're the ones that best explain what I most like about Cosette. Which leaving this is, I really did enjoy this. This is not. I'll be completely honest. This isn't the type of music that I'll listen to. Once I'm done studying for this, I won't listen to Cosette again. It's just not like she probably doesn't even want me listening to it. So who cares? I'm not the target audience.
Well, you're not her target demographic.
But not that she will ever hear this, or anybody that likes her music will. I have an unbelievable amount of respect for what she's doing. Sincerely, I sincerely do. And the song Eyes, to me, speaks the most to that because it is something that as a music fan, I don't really understand. My ears are just not, it's not of my time. It's so busy and there's so much going on that I feel like I'm going to have a fucking stroke. It's so overindulgent, but I love that. I love that there's this kid out there that was like, I want fucking more. I want more. To me, that's what fucking, I know we're not saying she's not a rock star, but that's what being a fucking rock star is. It's just like, fuck your, I want your verse, chorus, verse, and fuck your melodies and fuck your resolutions. I'm just going to keep throwing shit at you that I can do nonstop. That's and that maybe should have been an Eddie Van Halen. And then I really like the weird stuff, and she has a lot of weird stuff. I do this for fun. Is just like a minute and 20 seconds of fucking crazy. And I love it. I really, really love that. Like that's a playlist song for me. So I guess I shouldn't have said I won't. That's a lie. I will listen to her again because she has weird shit that I really dig. So
like it's almost jazz, in a way.
Yeah,
right.
You said it best at the beginning. I would put money on this being like a jazz choir kid or something like that.
I bet.
Or a band, like a jazz band geek or something like that for sure.
She had to, yeah.
Yeah. What are your favorite songs of Cosette's?
So God Minded.
It's a great song.
Just a good song. And I think it's one of the ones that's most like a song, like follows the typical structure of a song. I know you don't like it, but Pretty. I think that's another example of like a structured song that's probably catchiest out of her catalog.
Sven's big on the body positivity.
And Gums, carrying right along with,
Yeah.
you know, I brush my teeth hard, so my gums are raw.
That's fucking weird, bro. Just, what Sven just said, that's the lyrics. She really does say that.
That's the lyrics.
Yeah.
That's a line. Also, you know what's really cool? She has a playlist. Best name for a playlist ever.
What is it?
Cassette tapes.
Ah, there you go. That is Cosette. I'm really glad you gave this to me. I think it brings up a brilliant whole venue of things we can look at moving forward with indie artists. And like I said, a whole new package of shit to a new way to look at things when I need to. This is definitely a two-parter. We'll get to the second part now. So join us for that next Monday. Svend, I'll see you in what?
Yeah.
37 seconds after we get more beer.
Let's do it.
Let's talk.
BRRUN.
Yeah, beer run.
BRRUN.
Flashbacks.
Beer run.
Holy shit. Everybody, we love you. We'll see you for the second part, which is this works out so perfectly. You bring the SoundCloud stuff. I bring the traditional band coming out with albums, playing live. I mean, we couldn't have fucking written this better, could we have?
It's almost planned.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Well, come on. You know me.
And I know you. That's a good point.
We knew how this was going to turn out.
God planned it a long time ago. Everybody, we love you. Good night and good luck.
Yes.
Oh,